Beijing, Tsinghua University, 1966. Everyone in crowd shouting to kill the ones who went against the government. Police officers grabbed a man and pushed him to the ground. He asks for forgiveness and for another chance. They take him to the back and bring another one out. This time it's professor named Yi Zhetai. Everyone in the crowd shouting, "Rebellion is just, rebellion is righteous." A girl in the crowd saw the person. He was her father. A police officer then asks him about his teaching, wanting to know, is he really a physics teacher? And in reply, he tells everyone that they know as they are his students. The police officer then mocks him on such remarks. He is then told that his teaching is from outside the country, and it leads the student to have a toxic learning, and so he should be punished. His wife is then called on the stage, and she sides with the public and police, and after her speech he is beaten to death. Watching all this, his daughter cries, but she has no power to stop them. As the crowd disappears, she is then sitting on the ground seeing his deaf father laying there. The scene changes. London, 2024. The police cars arriving at a scene at night. As the police officer entered the house, there are already the crime unit taking the pictures of the scene. The death body there was of Dr. Sadiq Muhammad, born in Karachi, who had studied cosmology and theoretical physics at MIT. There was a suicide note, and the police officers had his flashlight on to see the countdown written on the wall from the blood. As the other police officer is describing the situation, another police officer turns the body around, which had a knife in the hand, and his eyes were taken out. The police officer tells to his superior that he was going to get the next Nobel Prize in physics too. The scene changes to Oxford University Particle Accelerator Facility. A girl enters the room where his colleague is working on computer. She tells him to stop working as the project is stopped, but he disagrees and tells that he will continue till the light are out. She tells that the theory was not possible as the experiment could not be conducted. So he tells that every other theory is also rubbish for about 60 years as they all were not experimental. The girl calls out his name Saul and tells him to continue working and try to find something. He is capable to do much more, but Saul has already given up and tells her that he cannot and will stop soon. As she walks away, she asks him that, does he believe in God? But he denies as there is physics, so in reply, she tells that, then what's left? She then reaches out to a room and jumps into the water. The scene changes to a bar. Two friends were talking to each other. The bar appearance Augie and Jin talked about the physics as how it is disappearing too, so Augie asks her to elaborate more. Suddenly a guy comes in to flirt with them and tries to guess their jobs, so Augie tells that she had a synthetic nanoparticle manufacturing company and Jin is a researcher in Imperial College, and after listening to them, he run away. They both then goes out to talk and smoke together. Jin shows some results from the accelerator Saul has shown to him around 1 month back, and everyone was scared to see them as they were not normal. Augie suggests that someone would have hacked, but she denied that how can someone do it in all world at the same time. Jin denies every other possibility and tells Saul is also confused. As they talk, Dr. Saul calls to Augie, but she doesn't pick up, but he calls on Jin phone, so she picks up and does some work quite to talk. Suddenly, Augie sees something in the midair, and as it clears up, it's a countdown. She gets scared to see it. Suddenly, Jin returns and tells that Dr. Saul informed her that Vera killed herself. The police officer, Dashi, then crossed the picture of Vera just like Dr. Sadiq on the evidence wall he had made. Next day, Jack and Alex in front of mirror fixing their tie and talking each other on how to react. Alex was a bit stressed and suggested that Vera can't suicide. Jack there drinks some alcohol in the name of Vera and also offer it to Alex, but he refuses. Jin waited outside the funeral of Vera with her boyfriend Raj. Saul makes an entry there on his cycle and greets Jin. Jin then fixes his tie and mocks him that an Kerr award holder can't tie a tie. Jin asks him about Augie, so he tells that, she said, to be in time lately. Aggie was traveling in the train, but she was getting the vision of the timer in front of him. As the funeral continues, everyone has arrived there. Jin asks Augie that has she consulted a neurologist, but Augie tells that the doctor also doesn't know about my condition. Suddenly, an old suspicious man arrived on the funeral to give his blessing. As everyone left the hall, the police office as she took picture of everyone, and there he saw the old man. He followed him, and he got to a helicopter's platform and went from there. But she took some picture which showed that the helicopter was of Evans Energy Company. Later, everyone sat down for some drinks. Saul asked Jin that did she believe in God as Vera asked him before dying, but then she jumped in a tank and died. Jin asked that was Vera stressed, or she doing anything weird, so Saul told that the project we were working on was closed as we were not getting the results. Everyone there was still confused on her suicide, but they changed the topic and talked about why they left each other and did their own work. Suddenly, they called Augie to ask some question, but she was all wrapped around her situation, so she went out alone to have some cigarette. Augie just sat outside and tried to flame her cigarette, but it didn't work. Suddenly, a wired girl approached her and helped her with her lighter and sat beside her. She then told Augie that how much time is left on her countdown. Augie got scared that how does she know that? That strange girl then told her to stop her business of nanoparticles and the countdown will stop, and next day at midnight look into the sky, the universe will signal you, and she went away from her. The scene changes to Mongolia, China, 1967. In forest, the people were cutting trees to clear the land and dragging the huge wood logs into container to be moved. Suddenly a man came by and asked the girl who helped in cutting the tree that how old it is. She told around 300 to 400 years old. He came and sat beside her and told that as we are cutting the forest, there will be a great destruction in future. But she refused to talk to him as she thought he was a journalist, but he refuses and tell that his name is Bai Mullen and he is a researcher. Then the girl looks towards the mountain which had an antenna. Bai Mullen told her that he has gone up there, but as we get closer to it, the atmosphere changes. He gives her a book to read about the future world and told her not show it to anyone or else she will get in trouble. Next day, they both work in the forest and later get back into the tent. But after a few days, the book she had was found by the police there. And she was taken into custody as she didn't tell the name of the person who had given the book to her. After a few days, a female police officer came to her to meet in the prison and asked to sign some papers in which it stated the name of few people which worked with her father Yizhetai. But she refused to sign, and so the officer poured the cold ice water on her and left her to die in the prison. Later, she was taken to the mountain, where she used to see the antenna. After reaching there was called out by her name Yi Wenji and was asked about the article that was it written by her. And she agreed to it as it was about the physics. She was told that it is a military area and if she enters she can do research, but cannot leave ever, but she agreed and entered the zone. The scene changed to the Black Palace headquarters of the Strategic Intelligence Agency, London. Dashi was collecting evidence. As he was looking into picture, he got a call from his superior who asked him about the progress, but he was not still very close. He was asked about Evans, who he told got disappeared over Atlantic because of satellite issue. His superior told him that it was his last chance to find something or else there will be nothing left to search. Jin was in Vera's house and tried to find some clues. Even she asked her mom about something, but nothing was there, which was useful for her. Suddenly, her mother remembered that she used to play games in her free time and showed Jin a golden helmet with was a video game according to her. As Jen left the room, she saw Vera's mother picture when she was young, and the picture was of Yuwenji. The scene again changed to the military zone where Yuwenji worked. She asked the military official that what are we testing in this area, so instead of telling they showed her. Suddenly a lot of birds started running, and they all died while escaping the sound and waves produced by the antenna. So then she understands that it gives out some electronic waves and harms the nature. The scene changes to current time. Jin tried the helmet she got from Vera's room, and suddenly she was into another world. There was sand everywhere, and she got her foot into a death skeleton, and suddenly she escaped the helmet and got out of the place. Dashi was also looking for the helmet as it was important. He told his colleague about Mike Evans and told that he is also into the whole situation, and he guessed that as he is rich, he can get the gold helmet. In the night, Augie took Saul into the park and told him that some girl told me to see the sky in the midnight. So she brought Saul to look into anything he finds odd. Then something strange happened which no one had ever imagined. As the clock rang 12 o'clock midnight, the sky started to blink. For Augie and Saul it was beyond their imagination. Yuwenji in her facility asked the official that it is not about weapons, but something else, so she asked what it is. So his officials explained her that they are trying to communicate. So she asked with whom, so they replied with someone who is out there listening to it. Saul, suddenly lying, realized that it a code and started to decode it as the girl Augie met had given her a toy from 1963, and as Saul decoded it, he found out that they are numbers. When Augie heard the number, she got scared, and as it was her countdown current number, but as Saul spoke, he changes the numbers which guided her about her death countdown. Sure to subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notification. Leave me comments and let me know what you think. Your feedback and comments are always appreciated. Thanks for watching.